Hi, I'm Brandy.
And I'm Rhonda.
And welcome to Girl Talk with
R&B. All right, well, welcome back. I do want to first say thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're growing, and we are so thankful for each one of you who are subscribing, who are liking, who are commenting. That just helps build momentum and have everybody else be able to see us. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the benefits of positive thinking. So, Brandy, tell me what you think the benefits are.
So, when I think about it's so funny, my phone is like taking up everything that is so funny, okay? So, when I think about the benefits of positive thinking, I am immediately led to the scripture, Proverbs 18:21, where it says, life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
And those who love it will eat its fruit. So in essence, there's life and death. So I can either speak positive and I'm speaking life, or I can speak negative and I'm speaking death. But either way, I will enjoy the fruits of whether it's positive or negative, right? I hold true to the other scripture when we talk about Romans 4:17. Call those things which are not as though they were. So even when I'm going through a difficult time, I'm not gonna focus on all of the bad things. I am going to be very intentional and focus on the good things, whether I see it or not, right? So what we know, even from a mental health standpoint, when patients are sick, just say they're dealing with an illness, let's just say cancer, okay? They're dealing with cancer and cancer treatment. There's been a lot of research to support that those patients that thought positive, those patients that expected a positive outcome, those patients that said, yes, I may be going through a difficult moment right now, but I am positive that I am going to get through this.
The people that have the fight. They have that fight.
They have that fight. To have that fight and that drive, you gotta be thinking positive. Because if you're thinking negative, oh, woe is me, this is just how my life is gonna turn out, you don't have nothing to fight for. So if there's research that can support positive thinking increases your health, it increases your health. Do you understand the benefits of it? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The benefits of it.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is what you put out in the universe is what you're going to get back. So you want to always make sure to always try to be positive, like no matter what you're going through. So like when I was going through my situation, I did have my maybe 2 days of where I was at. And then finally I was like, you know what? This testimony is about to be amazing. God is finna bless me.
Right.
God is finna bless me. And you have to trust and believe. You can't, well, I guess I can't say you can't go back and forth, because that's hard to say that you can't go back and forth.
Just don't stay there.
Just don't stay there. That's the main thing. Like, you can have your time. Like I said before, I give myself a certain amount of time to be sad, and then that's it. You know, I kind of limit it. But yeah, what you put out into the universe. So you always want to put good out about everything. So even though I lost my job, I wanted to put out, okay, God, tell me where to go. And then I pray and tell God what it is that I want, you know? And he blessed me with that, making more money. And then I'm off on weekends. I've worked weekends for Kalila's 10 years now.
Right.
So, you know, so it's a blessing in everything. I'll just say that.
Exactly. Also, thinking about when we positive thinking versus negative thinking.
Yes.
Think of it as seeds being planted, right? If I plant onions, what's gonna grow? Onions, right? If I plant tomatoes, what's gonna grow? Tomatoes. So if I'm constantly thinking negative thoughts, then it's like
I love that. Never.
9 times out of 10 something negative is going to happen. If I wake up every morning and say, I know I'm going to be in a car wreck, oh, I know I'm going to be in a car wreck, it's just a matter of time before you're going to be in a car wreck,
Yes.
right? So, okay, a personal story that I have with this is, for years, my husband and I, we struggled with infertility. Okay, I knew the odds were against me because before meeting my husband, I had to have an ovary removed, and my doctor had already explained you will still be able to conceive. It may just be difficult because you only have one ovary, right? So I went in, I understood that. But after a point, I'm like, okay, Lord. So going through getting testing and trying to figure out why my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. I could have chosen to think negative and just, oh, well, it just must not be meant for me to have a baby, walk around moping and just being sad that what I want, because I wanted more than anything, was to be a mom, right? Instead, I chose to be positive, to think positive thoughts. And I made a decision that I was going to trust that in any given month, I was going to get a positive pregnancy test, right? Now, from the time my husband and I got married to the time that we had our first son, it was 6 years. 6 years of dealing with infertility, 6 years of, having unsuccessful fertility treatments, and then having to deal with a miscarriage. I was angry. I was down. But like Rhonda was saying, I chose not to stay there. I realized I wasn't the first woman that had went through this, and I wouldn't be the last, right? So what I decided was, although I've had these struggles, although I've dealt with this very devastating miscarriage, I still know that God is going to bless me with children. And so I was very intentional. I had someone I knew, and I mentioned to her, because she was like, so you and your husband, y'all are going to have kids? I was like, yes. So I shared some of my background, me having one ovary. She was like, girl, you're not going to be able to have no kids.
Oh, Lord.
And I was like, well, no, we're not speaking that negative over here. I said, no, I'm believing God for that. So I'm like, immediately, like, leave that negativity over there. So the thing about it is, when you think positive thoughts, it puts you in a good place. Think about music. Think about music. I love music. I love all kind of music. I love. Let me just say this. Depending on what kind of music I'm on, it's gonna have an impact on my mood. I can be listening to some trap music, and I'm just kind of almost like I'm a little gangster almost, right? I can listen to some not 80s R&B. I love 80s R&B with my husband, and it puts me in a different mood, right? I can be listening to praise and worship, and it puts me in a different mood. I can be going through. I can be having a difficult time in my life, but I can put on something upbeat, something positive. And it changes my mood.
And even being around positive people, that will change your mood as well. You don't want to go and be around negative people. That's just really will damper you even more. So I wrote this down. So a lot of people use the excuses of, I'm not going to have a baby. I'm not worried about it, as a coping mechanism because they've been hurt. I have a few friends that have gone through that, and they just use it as a coping mechanism because that makes it okay in their head, even though they still want it.
They secretly want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to make, so if I did it, I'm just trying to make my mind be okay
out.
with, yes, that's it. Psych yourself out.
Psych myself
yes,
out.
Thank you for that.
If I tell myself I don't want it, then I won't be hurt when it doesn't happen.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I've seen that a whole lot. But when you were saying that
Yeah.
I had to write it down because I didn't want to forget.
Because
But yeah.
I literally I had that too, and I shared that with people that after years of being disappointed, I went through a stage where I said, you know what, I don't even want kids. I don't even want no kids. But I was lying to myself. I was lying to myself because what it was a cope again. Month after month, and at one point, I mean, I was counting the months. I'm like, I went 52 months of expecting, 52 months, and at some point I was just like, I'm tired, God, I'm tired. And I told myself I didn't want it, but then there was like this void, and so I had to recognize you got to be true to what you really want. And so when I tell women that about, even when I have my friends that are single, and they want to be married, they want to be in a healthy relationship, but because it hasn't happened, they have told themselves there's no good men out there. Well, let me say this: if you put that out there, if you say ain't no good men out there, then guess who you're gonna meet? The no good men. Right?
Yep.
So you may say, I know there's some good men out there. I just haven't been fortunate to have one.
Yep.
But because I know that there's some good men out there, I'm expecting that I'm going to be introduced to one, and I'm going to have my own love story.
So that's a
change
good
your
point.
mindset.
Yeah. So one of the things that one of my bullet points is think before you speak, because if you give yourself time to come up with something positive out of what you're about to say negative, just like she said, how she did it, and she said, I haven't met the right person yet, but I'm waiting, God. Show me that person. Don't be like, oh God, like she said, it ain't no good men out here, and I can do bad all by myself, or I don't need a man. So you're putting that out there.
You're planting those seeds. Every time you say it, it's like you just fertilizing it. I don't need nobody. Well, guess what? You ain't gonna get nobody, right? So be true. So if you are honest with yourself and you found that you have had a lot of negative thoughts, and because of it more being a coping mechanism, because I'm tired of being hurt, in order to protect myself, I have to trick myself, psych myself out, and I speak these things. So if this is you and you realize, like, I really do want this thing. Like, I really do want that promotion. I'm not gonna say, oh girl, they're not gonna give it to me, or man, they gonna get, start saying, you know what, when the time is right, I am going to get the promotion that is for me. When the time is right, God is going to allow me to cross paths with the person that is for me. So write those things out, those things that you have found yourself kind of going in the negative zone about because of disappointment. Write those things out. It could be weight. I know I struggle with my weight. It's up, it's down, it's up right about now. Okay. Instead of me saying, I ain't gonna ever lose no weight, what I can say is, you know what? I have the power and the ability to lose weight. I just have to adjust some things. I'm not going to talk down, because again, if I speak negative things, then it happens. I promise you. Think about vision boards. How many times have you heard people talk about when they put something on their vision board that it came to fruition, right? They put some, I have yet to meet somebody that put, I want to be sick on my vision board. I want an unhealthy relationship on my vision board. I want to be broke. I ain't seen none of that, because that's negative. We're not writing that stuff down, right? So the same thing. Speak those things. And even we're talking about positive thinking, we're speaking them, write them down. Write them down. Write out those affirmations. Again, if I'm going back to weight, I can and I will lose 20 pounds.
Yes.
I can and I will be able to save money for vacations. Again, you should have what you say. Because I want you to reflect back on your life, on when you thought positive and positive happen. Now, somebody might be saying, well, I thought positive about this, but it's negative still happened. Well, let me say this. There are some things that it may appear negative just because that's God may be moving some things. But let me say this. You ain't got to speak negative for negative to come. You see what I'm saying? So don't think, well, if I speak, because I spoke positive and negative
yes.
still happened. Like
Yes.
sometimes life just happens. But when you're
Yes.
speaking positive, remember going back to people that are dealing with medical issues and how it increases their opportunity to receive the treatment and to their bodies respond in a positive way because they're thinking positive. So how do we start? Maybe start by writing down all the things you're grateful for. Get in a practice, getting in a habit of being positive. Okay? So instead of, oh, I'm tired of cleaning this house. Instead, you know what, God, I'm grateful that I do have a house to clean.
Yes.
You know, I think about
For
laundry.
sure.
I'm like, I'm so sick. It's like a never-ending story
I was
with this
washing clothes this
laundry.
morning like, oh, Lord.
Right. But then I'm reminded of when I didn't have children. And I would have loved to be that mother that had all this laundry because her children had clothes to wear.
Yep.
So changing your mindset. Yeah.
So I wrote down too, accepting where you are. So basically what you have to do when you're in your mind and you're thinking negative, like say for instance how Brandy is with how she said about her weight. So what you have to do is accept where you are and be okay with it and then move forward and do what it is that you need to do to get to where you want to be. You can't sit there and just be so negative and just downing yourself, and what's that going to help? It's not going to help one thing. So you got to make sure, don't beat yourself up. Life be life, and like we said, life be life, and y'all, and you just have to accept where you are or accept what's in front of you and go with it. And sometimes that can be hard. I know it can be hard. Accepting something that you don't like about yourself or accepting something that's negative in your life, but you just accept where you are and then move forward to where you're trying to go.
And one of those things, when you're accepting where you are, you have to also identify where your role in it. Okay, so for instance, going back to somebody who got fired from their job, was that you got fired because you deserved to be terminated? What was your role? Or if it was a situation where I did everything, I went over and beyond and I still got fired, then you say, okay, you know what? It is what it is. I'm feel my feelings. I'm ticked off. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. Okay? But I can't stay here. Because it's almost like when they say one bad apple, if you're not careful, you will go from having a moment of frustration to days of frustration. So accept where you are, and then you focus on, what do I have the power and the ability to change? I don't like that I got fired, so what can I do? Number one, freshen up that resume, right? So now we go and do some positive things. Okay, let me network. Let me explore some things that I've always considered, but I didn't have time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, you accept where you are, but then you make a plan to move forward. I don't like, if I don't like what I see, what do I have control to change? And 9 times out of 10, when you start thinking about the things that you can do, you're looking at it from a positive lens, right? Like, okay, Brandy, I have I have total control of what I put in my mouth, right? Okay, I have a treadmill at home. So I can think positive and say, okay, you know what? We got 2 things that you got control over, all right? So even just think about a heartbreak. Maybe you were recently, you were in a relationship and it ended abruptly, or maybe it was something that you saw it coming, but it still hurts. It is what it is. I've dealt with the heartbreak. What do I need to do? Okay, let me feel my feelings. I'm disappointed. Why am I disappointed? I'm disappointed because maybe you recognize, maybe there were some things that you know you should not have done. Okay. And it got you to the place. Maybe you feel like I was too available to this person who was not my spouse or whatever, right? Whatever. You recognize it, accept it, and then you figure out, I don't want to be here again. What do I do? So again, the thoughts that you're thinking that I don't want to be here again. So I'm going to make sure I do this. Think about those positive things.
Yes.
Okay. So again, if we got two seeds. Okay. Just like we talked about the onions and the tomatoes. If you plant onions, I have yet to see somebody get a watermelon. I ain't saying it can't happen. I ain't seen it, right? So if I'm planting negative thoughts, negative ideas, just put negativity in the atmosphere, why would I expect something positive to happen? Because I'm saying that I don't deserve this, right? So Rhonda said earlier about surround yourself with positive people. Pay attention, because again, you know you have experienced this. You've been in a place where you were in a good mood.
Oh yeah.
You got connected with somebody. You're like, hey, I was in a good mood. You have also experienced being in a bad space, feeling very down, feeling very hopeless. And you connected with a person or some people, and you're like, I'm so glad I needed this because my spirits have been lifted. Let me tell you something. The spirits ain't lifted from no negative talk, right?
Not at all.
So you have the choice, okay? Nobody spoon feeds us anymore. You have the choice. Again, it may take practice. Start with
writing it down,
pen and paper, writing down. We're going to start out with all of what's going good. And you might only can name, you might not, I don't have nothing going good. Well, you alive. You alive to be grumpy right now, right?
Yep.
So let's just start there.
Write that down.
All right? I'm alive. All right? So, but real talk, be intentional. Write down all those good things. The things that you want to change, write those things down too, and come up with a plan.
To fix it, whatever it is.
To fix it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found too is when you wake up, first thing you do is say, thank you, God. And if you're down, I'll tell you, like we said, write down positive things going on. Like she said, it might just be one thing, but write that down to try to uplift yourself. Like we said, listen to music so that you can uplift your spirits. Whatever makes you happy, then that's what you actually need to do. To come through the negative things. So I wanted to talk about the time when I was younger, y'all. I was just very, very negative. And I guess my dad could see that I was being that way. And so him telling me one thing is to try this. It was something like Oprah or something. It was like the positive thinking. It probably I can't think of, but the law of attraction, basically. What you put out is what you're going to get back. And I did that, y'all. And that changed, him doing that and telling me that. It made me realize that was a negative Nancy. And it also made me realize that if I put something out, that's what I'm going to get back. And so it was an example. Deja was in a pageant, and I didn't have much money, but she was in a pageant. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to walk in this store, and I'm going to find a dress and some shoes on sale. I went in there and I found it. And that was like my aha moment. It happened that fast.
Right.
That was my aha moment. Yeah. And ever since then, y'all, I have just worked on being positive and speaking positive. And like when people are around me, like Brandy said, so many people, my patients, they just be telling me their life story, child. Because they can feel my energy and that I'll listen, you know? So you just gotta think positive, y'all. Just try your best to think as positive as you can.
Right. And one more thing before we leave, going back to what you said, think before you speak. It's one of those things where, okay, what I'm about to say, is this going to bring life or is this going to bring death?
Yes.
And again, it takes practice. It literally takes a shift. a mindset shift. And if you are, like Rhonda was saying, she was a negative person. In life, sometimes your experiences can cause you to feel that way. But again, we have control, remember? So think before you speak.
Yes.
There may be time. I've been in a situation where it's like I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not, and I have said I'm not going to put that in the atmosphere. And I'm like, ooh, let me rewind. You know, there have been times that I have said because I'm human. You know, I don't care how positive, motivational that I am. I am human. So I have had some times I'm like, ooh, let me get that vacuum, and I'm like, Lord, no, let me say that out. Yes, I'm like, nope, because I truly believe in the power
Of the tongue.
Of the tongue. I believe in the power of thinking. Okay, how many of you all have ever been in a situation where you thought about somebody? You hadn't seen somebody for years. You thought about them, and next thing you know, you're like, oh my goodness, they found you, or you saw them somewhere. You're like, man, I was just thinking about them, right? So see it like that. If I think I can, I will. You know, growing up, the little engine that could or whatever. Like, I think I can, I did, I will, or whatever. So again, be intentional.
So one more thing too. So when she said that, so when you're doing positive things, when you're having negative thoughts, like she said, I will. Write that down. I will, whatever it is, to change it to a positive. I am, you know? And like, if you're having self-esteem issues, get up in the morning, look in the mirror. I am beautiful. I am good enough. Just affirmations. Pour into yourself, y'all. That's one of the things that really has helped me to get to where I am, because I poured into myself and learned to love myself. So
positive thinking.
There's
power. Power in positive thinking.
Yep. So that's it, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We truly are enjoying doing these for you guys. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And make sure to push that notification bell too, because then you'll know let me tell you something. Every Thursday, we're going to try. Every Thursday. Like, we want to be committed to this. So every Thursday, we're going to post a podcast. So you guys get ready. All right. Until next time, guys. Bye.